Welcome back to Spirited Garage. I'm Jez, this is Joe. So let's talk about the Integra Type-S that just came out.
Yeah, so now we see what it looks like, and we see the front end, which is definitely better than the normal Integra. I like it. I guess I thought it would be a little bit, maybe more like NSX Type-S and TLX Type-S, like sleek front end, but still much better. And interesting, because it's kind of like a big front end, kind of like the second gen TSX, like a big, fat, chunky front bumper.
The front.
Yeah, so
kind
of like the first or second generation TSX, kind of big front bumper, kind of came down like almost like an SUV. So that does set it apart, which is cool. There's that nice picture from Acura with the MDX, the TLX, and the Integra, and that front bumper definitely stands out. I do like the big openings, very aggressive, and the aluminum hood, just with that vent right there, just changes the front for me so much.
I mean, I actually, because I hated the Integra that came out, but this looks really nice. It looks beefy. I mean, it's only like a 5 horsepower bump, a 320 horsepower, so a 5 horsepower bump from the Type R.
Over the Type R.
Over the Type R, right.
But the base Integra is at 200, so it's a huge bump for the Integra, even the A-spec Integra. So that's awesome. Weight is up from the base model, but it's also only 31 pounds away from the Integra Type R. So you got 5 more horsepower, 31 more pounds onto the whole entire car. And the Type R is doing a 0 to 60 in 5 seconds.
So we're speculating around 5 seconds because the Type R is doing 5 seconds.
Oh yeah, that's what I said.
Right. Yeah. No.
Okay. Yeah.
So the Type R is doing 5 seconds. So the Type S most likely will also
probably
be doing 0 to 60 in 5
seconds. Probably be comparable. I will say when I saw the teaser picture with the wide body fender, they only showed it in the rear, and it looked like it was like kind of an aftermarket additional piece on it, and I wasn't sure how it was going to look in the front. Seeing it now, and it's actually integrated into the bumper. It's a one piece. You can't just buy that over flare and put it on your A-spec. You have to have the actual fender from the Type S. I think they incorporated it nice. It's got more aggressive stance. The rear diffuser in the back with the 3 outlet exhaust looks pretty good. I think it's a lot of black.
It is yeah.
It needs a little more color, but it's still pretty cool.
It takes like the black section takes up like half of the rear end almost.
Yeah, it's
kind of
too
looks
much.
like that way.
It's like too much.
So if they just bumped the color down and put that black a little bit lower, it would look a lot sleeker.
But I like the exhaust. I like the note of it.
It's got the burbles and pops, the snap crackle pops, which is weird because the Type R doesn't come with it. But then the Type S, which is more executive, let's say, has the burbles and pops. So it's kind of weird.
Maybe more of a fun car. I know when I was following the making of the Ford Focus RS, they wanted the burbles and the pops. And I can remember the spot where the engineer kept telling the main guy, we can have it do that, but in a sense, you're making things not behave properly, so you're kind of taking away from the performance. Maybe they wanted the Type R to be just straight shot, you know? I don't know. I'm not an engineer. It does sound amazing, and it's not a bad thing to have, to give you a little bit of excitement on that commute.
What I was saying was I didn't like the spoiler was just a little tiny lip, like a hood deck lip, instead of like a more aggressive-ish spoiler, but it is a Type S and is accurate, so it's more executive or put together, I guess you could say. But I would like maybe a bigger wing for the spoiler. But
I think it looks good.
There's plenty of aftermarket parts, I'm sure.
I think the thing that surprises me, truthfully, thinking of the premise of a Type R in history to a Type S, looking at the RSX, the DC5 Type S, the NSX Type S, the CL Type S, TL Type S, they still were more luxury sport, and they all, no matter what, came with a sunroof. There's no option to get the performance aspect of it with that weight saving ability of the sunroof. I was so surprised to see this one with no sunroof. I'm sure you can get it as an option, as a factory option if you really wanted it. But to me, it's almost like this extra bump into more of a sport luxury instead of luxury sport. I know like the M3, you can get it with or without. I think by nature it's without. Maybe there's factory options. But that was a surprise to me, and I think that's kind of a cool touch because I love a good sunroof. But really, when you look at performance and everything, you don't want a sunroof.
Right.
So to me, that was the biggest surprise, and a welcome surprise. I appreciate it. I like it.
So let's talk about that suspension on here. It's got that double axis.
So they're calling it a dual axis front end. So the Type R has it also. So what it is, kind of hard to explain quickly, but a normal front engine has the problem of torque steer on a high torque engine. So you're trying to go straight, you get that torque steer, it's starting to turn, and it's not just in straight lines. It can be on a high speed turn also, where you're trying to take the proper line that you want, but that torque steer is going to pull you away from your desired line. So this dual axis kind of separates the suspension. There's a hole in the middle where the axle will go through, so it's separating that connectivity to give you better cornering, better sound, and to decrease that
torque steer.
Right,
so wheel hop.
That's aiding in quicker times at Nürburgring, quicker times with everything, because it's better still handling and feel.
Front wheel drive,
I like that.
Right, front wheel drive, limited slip diff,
which I love.
Right.
That also ups the track. The front is upped from the Integra A spec, 3.5 inches and 1.9 inches in the rear. And then the full exterior with those wide body fenders is 2.8 inches all around for your exterior upper dimension. So you're getting a wider track, better handling, better connection, better control. I love it. I actually really like it. I just know I won't be able to afford it. Dealer markups.
Speaking of afford it, so we're thinking it's gonna be around the 40s. But then dealer markups are going to send this thing, I don't know, maybe 50, 60?
Nah, 50, you'd be lucky. I think the way that they've been doing it lately, which is out of control, and I think dealerships are taking advantage, and I think that the manufacturers should put a hold on it. I know in an article about the Civic Type R, when it came out, the FK8, the engineers did so much to the car and took out certain things and didn't do certain things to give us a performance sports car at an affordable price range, which then became not affordable price range because of dealer markups. So the greed of a dealership outweighed the ingenuity of a Honda engineer to give us Honda fans the car that we wanted. So now it's gonna be the same thing with the Integra, and the same thing with the new Civic Type R. It's coming out, I think, around 45. I'm sure it's gonna be closer to 60, 65. The Integra, maybe it'll be MSRP, maybe more, like maybe 47, maybe 50, but then markups. So it's unfortunate because the car that I think would be kind of cool to have still has that daily driver aspect with the four-door and the hatchback, but it's got great look, great sound. I'm sure the performance is amazing. And same with the Civic Type R. I don't know which one I would rather go for, the Type R or the Type S. In an ideal world, I have both, but I don't have that situation.
I mean, you might save some money on the miles per gallon. Probably get around 27, 28 combined miles per gallon if you drive it like you would a Type R or Type S. Honda's saying it was like 34 for the Type R if you're driving very conservatively, but you know, it's a Type R, Type S. You're going to be driving it like a sports car.
So driving like a sports car, you also need to stop it like a sports car, right? So the front brakes are upgraded to 13.8-inch rotors with a 4-piston Brembo caliper, and then in the rear they're up to 12 inches. The red, it's not your typical bright red. It's kind of a more, I think, like dulled maroon, reddish maroon, which I kind of like. I also like it combined it with the 19-inch, 19 by 9.5-inch wheels that are kind of like a gray, dark gunmetal color, which I'm a huge fan of. I know the tires are wrapped in 265/30 sticky tires, which would be nice. I think that about sums up the exterior changes. I know the interior's got same factory seats, just more bolstering. They are power seats, so you got to think the Civic Type R has manual seats, so that's going to be your weight saver. These are going to have your, I think, driver's 12-way, and I'm sure the passengers maybe like a 4-way power seat. So that adds weight, plus the heated material, plus extra bolstering. So there is some weight saving that could be found in the Integra if you wanted to make it even more of a performance vehicle. But the idea of it being luxury and sport, you kind of want that power and, you know, I'm sure driver connectability. It has the digital dash, just like the Civic Type R. When you go to its only sport or sport plus mode, you don't get, I thought it would be kind of cool if it had the more extreme digital gauge like the Type R when you put it in R mode, but that's still cool. I think it's got a different shift knob, another dark anodized color, so kind of going in like a more mature, not so bright, not so shiny aluminum, kind of darker toned down, except you can get a nice red interior and a pretty interesting white and black combination interior, which may be a white Integra with the white and black interior would be pretty interesting to see.
It'd be cool.
I like that. I mean, it's kind of been the trend. You know, Honda's had like interesting colors. The EG generation, there's yellow seats, there's purple seats.
There is special edition Type S colors only. It's kind of like the yellow goldish.
I think they're calling
color.
it the Tiger Eye, if I'm not mistaken. You know, don't quote us. Like, I love Honda. I check everything out, but I can't remember everything. But I think it's the Tiger Eye Pearl, possibly. You can get the MDX in it. You can get the TLX in it. It's a Type S specific color, but they still have, you know, nice blue, silver, white, black, I'm sure.
So what would be like the competition to the Type S?
I don't know. Type R. Does it hit up the M3 category? I know it's got a pretty good power to weight ratio going on.
You also have the GR Corolla.
You're right.
But
I don't know.
But then that's hard to find as well because of markups and all of that. So that's within that same price range.
I wonder if it's just competing with the Type R.
Right.
You know, like I really don't.
Well, let me throw this one out.
All right.
Model S Performance. About the same 4-door family sedan sport, but the Model S Performance has 455 horsepower, all-wheel drive.
Okay, right.
It's at about $55,000, around $54,000.
Okay.
And then you add in a $7,500 tax write-off, so that brings it down, way down, like below 50s, high 40s. Compete that with dealer markups.
So that's why you like electric so much, because you want the tax credit.
Oh,
that's why you want the Integra to be electric for tax credit.
And the 0 to 60 time.
Get it. Well, 0 to 60
time, 3.1 seconds.
Yeah, the performance, the acceleration is crazy.
Like for that money, how much performance do you want? Do you really just want the Integra for the performance, or just driving feel, shifting with manual?
Well, good point. Driving feel. That's exactly what I was going to go to, is the manual transmission. There's no manual in
in the electrics or anything like that. Even though
Tesla,
Lexus Toyota's trying it, but
that'd be weird. I'll try it out if I can. But yeah, I think it's all around for feel, and I think also it's more so maybe just for the people who are Honda fans. You know, here comes the Integra. Another option as you age and become an adult and need a little more space. Just another option for you to check out.
Yeah, it's reminiscent because back in high school, I had a tag.
I had a tag. First car.
Early college, I had a tag. So that's why I didn't like the regular sedan Integra that they brought out, but this Type S looks really nice. Bumps up, you know, the performance, bumps up the look for sure. So
I think all around it makes it a better option. Like it makes it more desirable. Because I feel you, when I see the Integras in the wild, I'm like, okay, cool. Like you're in the wild, a little something different.
ILX.
It's still nothing too extreme, but from these pictures, if you saw it, you'd be like, oh wow, there's Type S.
Yeah.
So they definitely made it more desirable.
That wraps up our discussion. If you want to see more of this, make sure to get out of here.
And I still want to see what JDM companies do for front-end conversions.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that still is a huge possibility. But I do like where it is at this moment.
Yeah. See you next time.
Later.